Hello again, good evening to you. Welcome to Business. Interest rates in the country are likely to remain unchanged at least for the next month. This follows the decision by the Bank of Ghana to keep the policy rate unchanged at 17%. The Monetary Policy Committee of the Central Bank met last week to review health of the economy. The Governor of the Central Bank, Dr. Ernest Addison, earlier in the day announced a new rate at a press conference.
Looking at the Monetary Policy Committee meeting with journalists, the Governor noted that the decision to hold the rate was in the right direction, looking at the current developments in the economy as well as the outlook.
With strong quarterly GDP growth turning in at 5.4% for the first 2 quarters of the year. This compares with an overall growth of 8.1% recorded in 2018. Non-oil GDP is also projected to expand at 5.8% compared with 4.6% in 2017. Provisional data on the execution of the budget indicated an overall fiscal deficit of 3% of rebased GDP in September 2018.
The Governor also announced that 22 commercial banks have so far met the new capital requirement of 400 million Ghana cedis.
We expect that for those that will not be able to meet it on their own, they will go into merger arrangements, right? The idea is to pool resources together so that they will be able to meet the minimum capital requirement. All the data that I have seen so far tends to show that there is room for them to meet it in the next few weeks.
On the Ghana cedi, the Governor argued everything is being done to firmly stabilize the local currency, but maintained that government must also contribute its bit when it comes to the fiscal measures.
And we have said this since the beginning of May, that until the pressures came in, the cedi was almost appreciating in the first 5 months of this year. So yes, the cedi reflected the improvements in the macroeconomic fundamentals up to May of 2018. We have had spillover effects from the emerging markets impacting since then. Fortunately for us, these effects have been temporal and it hasn't persisted as we speak. So going forward, we think that the cedi will reflect the fundamentals. We have to work on the fundamentals.
Well, it appears the current tango between the Ministry of Communications and the Bank of Ghana may not have ended after all. This is because answering questions from journalists, the Governor maintained that every institution must respect the current provisions under the law. On the Consolidated Bank, the Governor maintained that everything is being done to currently support the bank to ensure that it meets its obligations as a commercial bank. Dr. Ernest Addison was, however, optimistic that measures being implemented by government would go a long way to stabilize the economy come next year.
Meanwhile, economist with Data Bank, Courage Marty, says maintaining the policy rate at 17% is laudable. He has been sharing his thoughts on the latest decision by the central bank.
If you increase the rate, you are sending a totally different signal to the market. Let's remember that the policy rate is also a signaling tool that the risk to the outlook has increased, and so I'm increasing the rate. So other rates should follow suit. Now, what are the risks to the outlook? They are basically inflation risks, right? But what we've seen in recent times is that inflation has dropped, remained within the central bank's target band. We have also seen the currency remaining stable. In recent times, we've seen a downturn, a sharp decline in world price or crude oil price on the world market. And that also means that there is some marginal improvement in the inflation outlook, but there are also some upside risks. Like we mentioned, the development in the external market as far as increasing policy rates in the U.S. is concerned. We've also mentioned the fact that there's a potential increase or expansion from fiscal policy, which could jumpstart aggregate demand and push pricing pressures from the demand side up. In that particular situation, you notice that the upside risks may have balanced the downside risk to inflation. And so the prudent decision was just to maintain the rate where it is at 17%.
What about the implication on the cost of credit as well, since
often this decision has a firm role in terms of cost of credit in the country?
Well, basically, we notice that the reference rate, the benchmark rate, is significantly influenced by the policy rate. The interbank rate is also very well aligned with the policy rate. If the policy rate remains unchanged, what you expect is that the reference rate will remain broadly stable at where it is, and the interbank rate should also remain broadly stable at where it is. The implication for cost of credit is that cost of credit should remain broadly unchanged. And in any case, you look at the loan portfolio growth, and it's not been growing significantly because there is a wedge between the pass-through effect, and that wedge is being created by the high NPLs, which is still about 20% right now. So even if you reduce the policy rate, the pass-through is going to be affected, reduced by this high NPLs level. So you don't want to reduce the policy rate with minimal impact. So you keep.
Away from that, many people are yet to fully appreciate the essence of Phase 1 of the Mobile Money Interoperability Service. For a section of the public sampled, more education should be given on how the platform can be accessed, especially among the various networks. Meanwhile, government is to introduce the eSwitch card onto the mobile money platform soon. Karen Dudu has more in this report.
Please check and see if you've received it.
Please have received.
Okay, thank you very much. So I just purchased this shirt for 80 cedis without any physical cash, and that's thanks to my mobile money account. Now, many people are indeed bracing mobile money transactions, but then are they really conversant with it, or they just dependent on the merchants? We'll find out. The Mobile Money Interoperability Platform has been touted as a credible solution to making Ghana a cash-light society. The product was launched in March 2017, and over 1.3 million transactions worth 134 billion cedis have been recorded so far. However, this cannot be translated to a good knowledge of the platform among Ghanaians, as checks by Joy Business show that many are not so conversant with the operating system. Gosh is a popular mobile money merchant in Kokomlemle. He tells me that with hundreds of people who visit his kiosk, most of them are just reluctant to learn the process.
Especially with the cash out, most of them don't know how to access it. So we do the cash out for them, everything. Then when it gets to where they should enter their PIN code, then we give the phone to them to enter their PIN code. And majority also doesn't even know how to check their balances.
The high charges incurred when transferring cash to other platforms, among other challenges, is a deterrent for some.
Yeah, I use mobile money very, very often. In fact, I use it for most of my transactions. And I use it, I'm an MTN subscriber, and I send money to other people on Airtel and Vodafone. That I do very often. It's cool, but the charges are a bit high.
I tried one sending money from MTN to Vodafone, and I was surprised because initially I didn't want to do it because I think it would be too much for me. I don't know how it will come, but the person forced me to try, and it worked. Just that I had to pay more than sending from MTN to MTN.
That's all by way of business tonight. Many thanks for watching. For more business, log on to myjournal.com/business. Have a good evening.